Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, today joined by Wrestling Inc.'s own Raj Giri and Dennis Farrell. We're going to talk about SmackDown Live, the Superstar Shakeup that happened on April 11th, 2017. Guys, how's it going?
Good, man.
Good to see you, man. Raj, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Doing well. So interesting SmackDown last night. Follow up on Raw. We see the new stars that are coming over to the blue brand. We, really kind of set the landscape for where things are going forward. Some definite surprises, some stuff that was predicted, and a very interesting talking smack that happened after SmackDown Live. So, Dennis, to start with you, your big picture thoughts on the second half of the Superstar Shakeup and what it means for SmackDown Live.
SmackDown Live rebounded a lot better than I thought they would. After watching Raw on Monday night, I really felt like they got picked over pretty bad, and you kind of knew it was going to happen. They don't want their A show to come in second to their own brand and ratings, but they rebounded okay. I wonder the heavyweight picture going forward might feel a little thin, superstar talent-wise for SmackDown, but maybe they can develop somebody. Maybe this is a chance for Rusev to step up and become a main eventer again.
Yeah, Raj, your thoughts?
I thought Raw, just in terms of star power, probably benefited a little more from the shakeup, just slightly. But I feel like SmackDown will probably do more with the people that they got than Raw will. So it might be to SmackDown's benefit how it all turned out.
I think SmackDown, with the format and the way that they're able to do things within that 2-hour format and have talking smack after. I mean, granted, think about what we were saying after the draft last summer. It seemed like, oh man, Raw's the hot show. SmackDown's a little more niche, a little more esoteric, a little more the IWC favorites, but not so heavy on the mainstream attention as Raw was. And then SmackDown, the format is where it really shined. And just what creative was able to do with the show. So I think, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt going forward.
To an extent. I mean, really, how many people rose a lot on SmackDown? It was kind of like The Miz and Baron Corbin.
And The Miz. And James Ellsworth and The Miz.
No, look at where James Ellsworth is now. Yeah. So it was The Miz. So let's not act like SmackDown's some star creating machine.
For a brief moment in time, man, Heath Slater and Rhino were really over. For that, remember that 2-week period when
those comedy acts. I mean, they get over for a bit, but there's a point where it dies out. You look at Damian Sandow, Adam Rose. I mean, anyone when you got a funny gimmick, the joke gets old after a while. And, I don't see them. I don't see them reaching their old heights on Raw.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens
but we'll see.
So let's go through the show, break it down, starting up Kevin Owens. Well, actually starting up first off, Tom Phillips, JBL, and Byron Saxton. Now I tweeted this is a rib on JBL, right? They're just like, you want to be on your best behavior. We're going to make this really tough by putting Byron Saxton next to you and traveling with you for the foreseeable future.
I think Byron Saxton's better than David Otunga.
Oh, I think Rock, just a Rock, probably provides more insightful commentary than David Otunga does. Yeah.
I mean, I like David Otunga. I think he's a good guy. But you get no insight from his commentary. You don't ever hear anything where you're like, oh wow, that's interesting, or that I did not know that. And from someone who's wrestled, who's been in the ring, you'd hope to get some of that, which you don't at all from him. At least Byron. David Otunga makes observations that a casual fan would make, whereas Byron's a little better than that. So it helps SmackDown out a little. I think they got to get rid of JBL, but in the commentary booth, because I don't think he adds much to the show.
He did seem a little restrained last night. Dennis, your thoughts?
I think Byron has grown into the role that he has a lot better than Otunga, and I'm not knocking him at all. I just think Byron is more entertaining, I guess. He has the flash factor on the mic that you can sit back and go, okay, you're exactly right, Raj. He's just a little more refined, and it flows better, and you could even hear the difference on this SmackDown that it was just a lot more smoother. Because Otunga just seems like it was a little broken up, and sometimes it would drag the mood down when he would talk.
And Byron, I think, knows that what his role is in the chemistry of the commentary. I think he knows how to set stuff up. Certainly on Raw, I think it became great. Like, I think he knew how to set up Corey to make a snarky remark at him. They had a really nice rhythm and flow, and I think with JBL it'll be good. I just think back to that ride along with JBL and Cole and Byron, and it was just like, yeah, I don't know how much of that they script, but it seems like, man, they really don't like Byron. So I think it's going to be funny just to see JBL dealing with that going forward. But
well, Byron picked the perfect time to get over, because you would think that JBL is on his best behavior now backstage. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be tough. So what are you hearing last night? I know wrestling has had the coverage of all these developments with JBL. Someone got ejected from the venue for having a sign last night.
Yeah. Someone had a JBL bullied me sign, and I think they were, from what I heard, that they asked the fan to give up the sign. He wouldn't do it, so he got ejected.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, he was in, front and center in camera view, so I could see why WWE, wouldn't want that there. But yeah, I mean, there were fire Bradshaw chants last night. I don't know how long this story sticks around. If it dies out after this week, it might die down until Morrow decides to open up. But
yeah,
right now it doesn't appear like WWE is going to take any action. So.
Let me ask you guys this. Could this be one of those cases where maybe they make a crack about it, almost like the New Day did with the scandal, and kind of relieve the pressure? I mean, New Day made 1 8-second joke and it was all dead. Everybody moved on. Do you think if they just kind of nod that, hey, this thing's going on, and move on, that maybe the fans will, follow with them?
Perhaps. I mean, I could see fans just forgetting about it anyways. I think, things die out quick in this day and age. So, I mean, Xavier, people were wondering how long it'd be before he returned to TV. He was back 2 weeks later. He's in that post-Mania WrestleMania crowd, post-WrestleMania Raw crowd, and got nothing. So people move on quick. So I don't know, again, if Morrow does a shoot interview, I could see it all being raised. And if Morrow discussed exactly what happened, Pat Miletich, former UFC welterweight, I believe he was the first UFC welterweight champion, has posted a tweet saying that JBL strong-armed tomorrow, and, he wants to have he's got a problem with JBL. So there's more to the story that, it's more than just what JBL said on Bring It to the Table. It appears so, but we just have to see if Morrow decides to come out with that.
Yeah, I think if the WWE acknowledges it in a joking way, then I think it will explode and just get it like 10 times worse.
Yeah, I could see fans losing their minds over it, because this isn't it's just because it represents a bullying backstage atmosphere, and WWE just kind of brushing it off, I think, would just anger fans and media even more.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, can you imagine if they got to do some Be a Star vignettes coming up in the next few weeks? Like,
I'm sure they're putting those on hold if they are.
Oh, I'm sure they're so. Thank God we have that stupid Little Lungs thing telling kids not to smoke. Thank God we're stuck in that for a while.
That Little Lungs thing seems like it's a parody of anti-smoking PSAs.
I know, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, and I don't know why. I don't know who comes up with this stuff.
It's got to be pitched to like 8-year-olds, because I can't see teenagers finding that effective. So it's got to be targeted to like really young kids.
It's nice to see a break from people yanking out their own teeth on a weekly basis. And that one PSA that I feel like was all over Raw for a year,
The Sasha Banks one's even worse because it just seems way too cheesy.
Although I did like they scripted the line of, what was it like? I could see his future literally. No, not literally. It was just that like one little clever part. But yeah, they're just, it's so bad. Okay, so back to
someone wrote that the Little Lungs commercial is their smoke break.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I spend my commercials going, I wonder where Mike K from the Bosley ad. Can I just follow him on Twitter? Is he online somewhere? And apparently other people have looked for it, but nothing yet. One day, Mike. Back to the Superstar Shakeup. So Kevin Owens came out kicked off the show. He is indeed on SmackDown now. Now we predicted this based on Monday night. He was interrupted by Corbin, which at first was like, oh man, like worried about where that's going. Because that would be an odd first feud to have. KO shades of Bret Hart last night with his anti-America Canadian superiority work that he was doing there. And then interrupted by Sami Zayn. Loved Owens' reaction to that, and interrupted by AJ Styles, setting up a #1 contender match for the U.S. title to happen. That happened later in the evening. They're still saying that Owens versus Jericho is happening at Payback, which is a Raw branded pay-per-view, but the winner of that will go on to face the winner of the #1 contender match last night. So Raj, your thoughts first on this. What do you think about Owens coming over and Zayn, and what did you think of the segment last night?
I thought Owens, I thought he did a great promo here. His quasi-shaven look's going to get some getting used to. I don't know. He just came to me. He just came across as he looked more out of shape.
He did look kind of like a chunkier Bobby Roode last night.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that. I mean, again, maybe it's just not being used to it. But I thought he seems like. I always like when people try to when they turn heel or when they turn babyface or switch, that they try to change their image a little bit, try to change, their attire or whatever. Chris Jericho always does it whenever he turns heel or babyface or returns. He tries to change his persona a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it seemed like he was doing that here. He seemed remotivated, and he was going strong on the anti-US stuff. And I hope that's not his new shtick. I hope it was just for this crowd, because I think he's above that. I think that the anti-US stuff is just outdated, especially with Canada and the US. It just seems so 90s. But I thought Owens did great here. And Sami Zayn, again, I think SmackDown seems like the right place for him. I think he'll get more of an opportunity to shine. But so yeah, it was good seeing him here too.
Who in creative kept making him put over that Face of America line? I mean, I'm talking Smack. We got it on SmackDown. I really worry where they're going with this character right now. Dennis, what did you think?
I thought Kevin Owens nailed it. He's talking to a Boston crowd who we hate the Montreal Canadiens. I'm originally from Boston, so he played that anti-American pro-Canadian thing, played perfect to that crowd. It was phenomenal. I think if there was a town to do it, it would have been right there. He nailed it. I was a head scratcher with the AJ Styles thing, because we know that I guess he's turning face, and he was very polite.
Oh yeah.
When he came out and he was to Sami Zayn like, "Hey, no offense, I'm talking to these guys," I was like, "Wow, wasn't it just like a couple weeks ago you just threw some guy's head through a car and you shook his head, it was over, and now you're a face again?" That face turn came pretty quick and just without a real explanation. It was a handshake and a, "Hey, no offense." But, minus AJ Styles, this was one of those Bill Cosby, one of these things are not like the other. And AJ Styles was the one that shouldn't have been there.
I mean, I think AJ should be in the world title picture as opposed to the U.S. title picture. But I think turning babyface is the right move. He's the most over, he gets more cheers than anyone on SmackDown. So it just seems like the right move to me. But yeah, it'll be interesting where Orton, who's next for Orton. I think it's too soon for Shinsuke Nakamura. I assumed it would have been AJ, but if AJ is in the U.S. title picture, I'm not sure.
Let's talk about that last night. Interesting match. Eric Rowan versus Randy Orton. What were your thoughts on that, Raj?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was I always get crap because people think I dog on Randy Orton too much, but this match sucked. The ending was perplexing, and
Bray on both shows this week.
Yeah, which makes sense since they're wrestling at Payback, and that match was originally scheduled for Backlash. They moved it up, so that made sense, and I can't wait for that feud to be over. Yeah.
Dennis, what do you think? And who do you think they pair Randy with next?
I couldn't even tell you it right now. I don't know if they really know, but I'll say this about Eric Rowan. And I said this a few weeks ago about Luke Harper. And I got a bunch of poo from the fans here that, eventually Luke Harper is going to be a jobber. Everybody's like, oh, no, he's too amazing. Where's he been, guys? Anybody seen him? He's on the back of a milk carton. That's how quick Aaron. And I love this new Eric Rowan mask thing. That's pretty.
Really?
I'm digging that, man. You're not.
Huh. Looks like something Slipknot was like, nope, not for us. They were just like too hokey.
Listen, this match was just built to set up Bray Wyatt and keep everybody remembering that him and Randy are going at it. And that's all it was. We knew what was going to happen. He's going to turn around. Rowan was going to do something. Orton will RKO him. Good night. We're going to move on. So, it's your smoke break.
Yeah.
It ended with Rowan, left standing while Orton was down, right? Orton never hit the RKO.
Steps and the thing, and
even though Orton pretty much destroyed Rowan last week. So
Orton got busted open last night.
Yeah, you could tell what he was saying after that happened too. It wasn't PG.
Yeah.
But I think the more that Rowan clings on to the Wyatt gimmick with the masks and those coveralls, the more people see him as the job guy of the Wyatt family. He needs a clean break and just a complete change of character, I think.
Something. It was you know what I could almost see, and they're not going in this direction, but I almost think, man, if they put him in like a strongman onesie with that beard, he could have paired with Aiden English and revived the Vaudevillains, with that look. But yeah, anything would be an improvement over, the potato sack they're dressing him in right now.
I don't think the Vaudevillains would be.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We got they're pushing Aiden back as the artiste again. That was a nice surprise last night. Okay, so Orton technically won by DQ. Bray called him out, reminded people the House of Horrors match is happening. Raj, you wrote about this. The survey went out. They're considering like chainsaws for this, or they're asking people like, what do you want to see in the House of Horrors match?
Yeah. I wish one of the options was we just don't want to see it. But yeah, I mean, yeah. There's
a lot of sort of befuddlement right now. Speaking of which,
when they get too creative with these things, like when they tried that Ambrose Asylum match, I just hope it doesn't become way too hokey. And remember with Dean Ambrose with his match with Brock Lesnar, he was teasing a chainsaw and all this stuff, and nothing happened. And they used a couple normal weapons, and that was it.
Let's not forget the amazing Punjabi prison match that we were all treated to many years ago, guys. I'm excited for this.
I just wonder if anyone in the WWE actually knows how you use a sledgehammer, because it seems like every time one of those is in a match, it's like that weird, I'm putting my hand over it and like poking you in the gut with it. I don't know. Like these weapons matches, it's like, I think they're trying to tell people like, hey man, this could be like some crazy ECW, Japanese wrestling stuff you can only find on the internet in the early 2000s. We're going to set it up like that. But then
except no blood.
Yeah, except no blood. And no one's actually going to get hurt.
Right.
No one's stapling stuff to their forehead.
PG version of all that.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of creative befuddlement, title match for the tag team belt. American Alpha versus the Usos put on an actually pretty solid match that the Usos retained with. But then at the end, the big surprise out of nowhere, Primo and Epico lay out Gable. The Shining Stars have come to SmackDown Live.
They didn't call them the Shining Stars, did they?
Primo and Epico. Renee referred to them as Shining Stars on Talking Smack.
I wonder if that was an accident, because it seemed like they were purposely not calling them the Shining Stars on this, which I think is great. I think just being Epico and Primo and dropping that whole real estate gimmick does them a lot of favors. I don't see them being a headline act by any means, but that gimmick was killing them.
Oh man, like JBL and Byron, they were trying to put him over last night a bit, being oh my god, so vicious, so dangerous. The Primo Epico. What was Ziggler's comment on Talking Smack? I look forward to seeing them on live events. last night.
No, he was being serious. I mean, Epico and Primo are talented guys. I mean, they're really good workers. It's just, they're bogged down by this lame gimmick. I mean, they can really go and have a good match if they're given time and the right opponents. So, and I mean, Dolph was being serious there.
It was hard to tell. Whenever someone comes out, chewing an apple, it's just like, is this a heel promo? Is this cocky?
I think, speaking of which, I think you bring back Carlito, try to work out some deal with them and it gives them a little spark.
Maybe. Could very well happen. So what did you guys think of the match between American Alpha and the Usos last night?
It was good. I sat back. I enjoyed it. The Primo thing was a shocker because I think we all kind of were waiting for New Day to come out or somebody new to come interfere in this match because I couldn't see a clean ending, especially on SmackDown with the shakeup going. It happened. I was a little shocked it was Primo. It was one of two swerves that we kind of got there.
Yeah, I wonder if they're holding off the New Day until Kofi can come back.
Oh, maybe.
We'll see. I mean, it sounds like it'll be a few weeks before Kofi can return. So they can still do some stuff with the New Day, but I think it's clear that Usos and New Day are probably next. And then it's American Alpha with Epico and Primo.
That'll be interesting.
But I thought the match was good. I think the Usos and American Alpha work really well together. I wish the Usos would get a little more promo time because they're really good on the mic and they're really comfortable in this heel role.
And they've been great on Talking Smack. So I don't know why they're not giving them moments.
Yeah, even when they've done promos on SmackDown, they nailed it out of the park. So, yeah.
The Usos have turned around so much that I actually found myself Googling where I can get one of those day one-ish hoodies. That's how much I've turned around on the Usos to where I'm like, okay, they're actually kind of cool now.
They must have them at WWE Shop. They got everything.
I didn't see them last night. I think someone was telling me like that was like an custom buy that they did. I read online that it's not even meant to be merch. Kind of like that Heath Slater free agent shirt. Like I would have bought the free agent shirt, but that was just a thing he had made.
Yeah.
I want to get the day one-ish fanny pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Rock that. Speaking of old merch, after that we had Mojo versus Jinder and Mahal. Man, so they're gonna get Gronk there, and they've got him wearing a Mojo Stay Hype shirt from 2015 that the shop hasn't even had for a year. Like, man, when's Mojo gonna get something new if they're actually giving him a push now?
I don't think it matters. I think the sales will be about the same. We'll stay around zero.
I bought a Hype Bros shirt. It was on a buy one get one free sale, but still,
you were the one.
I've seen people wearing those, man, like the Hype Bros. I like Ryder. I like Mojo. I thought it was interesting last night putting him with Jinder and continuing that feud. Jinder. So this is his chance, right? This is his opportunity to grab the brass ring. They're putting him in these segments. He's getting that heel heat, getting in Gronk's face, talking smack. They gave him like 5 minutes just to talk, which I thought was good. Stage is set, right? He could be one of the breakout stars of the Superstar Shakeup.
Yeah, usually it's hard to when people to get from that job guy status to even mid card. Once you've been relegated to that, it's hard to get out of it. But he's trying. I mean, he's doing what he's doing to get his physique. I mean, he was talking about having one of the best physiques in WWE, or I think he said the best physique in WWE, which it might be now. Especially with, Cena's not a full timer. So, everyone there, he's probably there. So, he's trying. He has been better in the ring. I know, the spot with Finn, and we'll talk about that more after the SmackDown recap. But accidents do happen in the ring, but man, he nailed Finn. But other than that, he hasn't been bad in the ring, and we'll see. We'll see if WWE decides to give him more, but he's not getting squashed like he used to.
Yeah. Dennis, what'd you think?
To me, it all just feels like a way to get Gronk on TV and involved in the WWE. I don't feel like they're really pushing Mojo. I don't really feel like they're burying or pushing Jinder. I just feel like it's all built around whatever we can get out of Gronkowski while we have him. And as I said, I'm a Boston guy. But Gronk and the whole Jersey Shore fist pump thing he's got going on is lame. I just wish let Gronk go do whatever he's doing on some party boat somewhere and let us have some wrestling. I don't want to see these two guys set Gronk up just to never see Gronk again or, another shoulder tackle or, who was the guy from WCW, Greg, one of the football players, or a Karl Malone thing. I'm worried that this is where this is going.
Were you saying that on Twitter? Who was saying that on Twitter, that if this was WCW, Gronk and Mojo already would have headlined a pay-per-view?
I didn't. I wish I did.
They had way better luck at getting athletes in the ring than WWE did. Because, during that time, they got Rodman and Karl Malone. I mean, not an athlete, but Leno, Kevin Green, Mongo. They had a ton of people actually making it to the ring, where WWE never. They got Tyson, but he didn't wrestle.
Yeah.
So you got to give it to WCW's credit. They milked the athletes for what they were worth. And yeah, they probably would have had them announced for the next pay-per-view by now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if the NFL would allow. You remember what they did with Pac-Man Jones and TNA. So I doubt they'd allow Gronk to wrestle. But.
I thought it was okay though last night. I think with Mojo and Jinder, it's interesting they're pairing them together. I think because they're both at roughly the same level. I mean, Gronk is the one that's elevating this feud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see, this week they're in Boston. We'll see when Gronk's not there what they do with Mojo.
Yeah, definitely. So Shane came out, give a state of the women's division last night. We saw who's still there. Naomi, Natalya, Carmella with James Ellsworth, and Becky Lynch. And it's weird that they had Ellsworth get on the mic at that point. It was very awkward. But whatever. Okay, so then Shane doing a nice little swerve there, doing an introduction of a new member of the division, daughter of a Hall of Famer. Yeah, Tamina is back, which I guess
it confirms that Jimmy Snuka is still in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because they removed him, from their website when the charges were levied against Snuka a couple of years ago.
It's really horrible. But I'm like, this is how I think someone in WWE creative works. Is they're like, let's not do anything with the JBL situation. Maybe he'll die or something in the next couple months, and then we won't have to address all of this. Because with the Snuka thing, that's really what happened. It was like, we're gonna quietly kind of put this. Oh, he's dead now. It's cool. Hall of Famer. It's all good. What murder? No. It's all fine.
Yeah. He's they did a Hall of Fame video package recently, and he wasn't even in that. And Hulk Hogan was, because they had removed Hulk Hogan too. Hulk Hogan still is not on the Hall of Fame section of their website, and neither is Snuka.
Yeah.
Still.
What was that Bix tweeted about? Bix and Span tweeted about a while ago that they shot some new talking heads with Hogan a little while ago, and the idea was like, well, you don't know when we shot the talking heads with Hogan. Like, these could have been old ones we just had lying around. I feel like they just keep testing the waters further and further with that to see when people are going to finally let it all die down.
I think it has died down.
Yeah.
I think it's been so long. Hogan's he's his win over Gawker. That's what people think about now, I think, when they think of Hogan, not the racist tirade. So I think people are over it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see what happens when they finally make that move. So Tamina's back, and then we have Charlotte coming over last night. So definitely interesting. It's funny though. I was thinking about it. I mean, tell me what you guys think of this. I was really excited at first. I was like, oh, cool. We have Tamina now. We have Charlotte. And I was like, wait a second. Like, Tamina and Charlotte were on Raw together. It reminds me of that period, kind of when Becky and Charlotte came over to WWE. Like, to me, that was like we're still figuring out the women's division period. So I'm curious what they're going to do now that they have it a little more locked in with the way that they book stuff.
Oh, I'm sure they'll do a lot. Charlotte's a whole different level of star now.
Oh, definitely.
She can, and her and Naomi. Naomi's so athletic, does really cool flashy moves. Her match, putting together matches isn't her strong point, but she is getting better at that. And that's something Charlotte's really good at. So I think they can have some really cool matches. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, watching that replay of Monday night of Nia Jax dropping Charlotte on her head, I'm just glad Charlotte's okay.
Yeah. That was scary. And Nia not, catching her properly on that moonsault from the top. That was scary too. I mean, she almost just face planted on the outside.
Yeah. So I thought Charlotte looked great last night. What do you think about the women's division on SmackDown going forward, Dennis?
So thin still. There's not enough bodies. If Charlotte doesn't win and hold that belt for a year, I'm going to be very disappointed, because by far and away the best talent, the biggest name there. She should hold that belt and keep that belt and kind of keep fending people off, because we're going to have one of those situations where we're going to have that belt change hands 9, 10, 11 times this year, because there's just not enough jobbers or bodies or enhanced talent in there to really make that division feel full on SmackDown.
But I think with Charlotte, Naomi, Becky Lynch, it's the strongest the SmackDown women's division has been, just with those three alone.
I think it's going to be Becky versus Charlotte by and large. I mean, they already had that Mania match with Sasha last year. I think that they can really carry that division.
They could. I mean, Becky's dropped down a couple pegs.
Although last night, that crowd reaction, now granted it was Boston, but still, she's, I think, of the SmackDown women, I still think she gets consistently the best reaction.
She does, but management, they've lost some faith in her, clearly. I mean, by seeing where she is. But I agree. I think she should be higher, and you will definitely see, Charlotte. I mean, we'll see Charlotte against everyone. So
yeah, but
I'm sure once Charlotte and Naomi runs its course, that's where they'll go to next. Yeah,
we'll see. It was interesting, all the chants for Sasha last night. I was wondering, was there a dark main event after? 205?
Yeah.
Who was it in Boston?
It was Nakamura defeating Ziggler again. Pretty much the same match they had last week.
Gotcha. So after that segment,
and real quick about that, I think it's the right move to keep Sasha on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I think she benefits from that, and it balances it out, I think.
I feel like Sasha's just on pause until they do that heel turn. I mean, it was so frustrating Monday that even they started the heel turn to have that interrupted by Alexa.
Maybe they wait till the pay-per-view to do it, because now they've teased it, so it's there. So that now they could go all the way with it, or just drop it like they do a lot of times. Like, remember Rhino and Heath Slater almost feuding like 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah,
almost breaking up.
Creative has just got, I feel like, I know they have an actual staff of creative people, but I feel like some of it is just Vince rambles off these things and people take notes, and they're like, yeah, but what about that thing with Sasha and the heel turn? Vince is like, I never said that. And he's like, no, you said the thing about it once. And he's like, oh, I don't remember, just bury it away. I feel like it's just one guy trying to keep track of all his thoughts with some of these creative decisions. So we got the announcement Sin Cara and Rusev are coming over. It's interesting. I mean, so Kalisto and Sin Cara can't be on the same brand anymore.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Kalisto should be in the cruiserweight division. I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'll just keep getting buried, and he's a talented guy.
Yeah. After that, we had the and Rusev. It was an interesting announcement, given that he's out. Right, he's got a shoulder issue for a while.
Yeah. He's been out for several weeks now, and I think Lana said he's 2 to a couple months away from returning. So it might be good for him. Hopefully, they give him a renewed push when he comes back, and it freshens him up. I don't know. It almost made it seem like Lana is now a singles.
Yeah, she's been doing NXT house shows. She's been doing NXT house shows in wrestling.
She's been wrestling for over a year now, but they haven't been really using her as a wrestler. So. That'll be interesting to see how that goes, because Lana is such a big part of his act. I feel like she adds a lot by being there.
No, absolutely. Aiden English doing the singing gimmick versus Ty Dillinger. This was like an episode of NXT from 2014. What did you think of the match, Dennis? And what do you think the hopes are for Aiden English now post Vaudevillains?
I think that's what you see is what you get. We'll probably get a little something like that every week, where he comes out and tries to sing a song, and then someone pops out in the middle of it, and then they go to fisticuffs and he gets put down. Sadly, I don't see anything more than that for him going forward, unless he totally changes himself and reinvents. But Ty looked great. That was a fun match. It was a quick match, and it got a great story in just that little bit of time they had to do it. I was happy with it.
What drives me crazy right now with WWE, with NXT, is they assume that the audience knows who all these NXT guys are. And when you do a post WrestleMania Raw, yes, a big chunk of the audience does know. And at TV, more people are going to know who these guys are than at live events. But you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that watch NXT on a weekly basis, versus Raw and SmackDown, which is millions, and 3 million plus for Raw, and like 2.5, 2.8 for SmackDown. So it's a fraction of the audience that really knows who these NXT guys are. They should, give these guys vignettes to kind of explain who they are. I mean, someone that doesn't watch NXT and sees the whole 10 thing, they're like, what the hell is that with Ty Dillinger? Or, you know, Aiden all of a sudden singing. If you're not familiar with his NXT work, you don't know what that is. And so it would be good to introduce these guys more to an audience that doesn't know who they are.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember the last time we saw in SmackDown or Raw actual footage from NXT, like from a wrestler, like a career retrospective of, you know, their greatest hits from NXT. I know we see the NXT promos in between, but I can't remember the last time they used that sort of package.
Yeah, I don't either. And they could do just a quick video package of Ty, you know, discussing, you know, his time with NXT, coming up with the 10 thing, how it got over with the fans. So at least people know, oh, that's what the 10 thing is, if they're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
No, I think they benefit greatly. So we're going to talk about the rest of the show in a moment, but first want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this episode, DDPY. Got to check it out. Specifically their awesome Max Pack used by the likes of Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, Mick Foley, Goldust, tons of other WWE stars who love using DDPY. And for a limited time, we've got a deal for you. You can get the DDP Yoga Now app for 25% off, or you can get 25% off the DVDs, which includes 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. And you can also buy a Max or Combo Pack at 25% off and get 50% off the second one. You've heard us talk about it. DDP Yoga is changing people's lives. With the app, God, amazing things, all sorts of different DDPY workouts, motivational messages from Diamond Dallas Page himself. He even has cooking lessons teaching you how to make healthy food taste amazing. To take advantage of these deals, head on over to ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. That's ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. I've said it before, partner up with a friend or a loved one, get a Max or Combo Pack at 25% off, get 50% off the second one. Nothing like having an accountability buddy to help you get in shape and stick with the program. Again, that's ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. We thank them for sponsoring the show. Diamond Dallas Page, 2017 WWE Hall of Fame. Congrats on making it in, man. You definitely deserve it. ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc. And Raj, you're going to have an interview with DDP going up on the site soon, aren't you?
Yeah, part of it's already been up.
Excellent.
So, but yeah, the rest should be next week. I got Medusa, Kurt Angle this week. So yeah, that should be next week.
Cool. And will there be some interviews going out in the podcast feed continuing?
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
The Kurt Angle one should be there this afternoon.
Yeah. And, you know, if you haven't checked it out yet, we're doing daily headlines in the podcast feed. So if you subscribe to this on iTunes or your favorite podcatcher, you can get daily wrestling news from the Wrestling Inc. podcast, just short little 2-minute updates.
Yeah, it just kind of gives you a brief rundown of all the day's events. So.
Yeah, it's been awesome so far. So back to SmackDown Live, we then had Ziggler in the ring. Kind of a nice confrontation with Nakamura last night, you know, not resulting really in a match, just Ziggler attempting to get a kick, Nakamura catching it. What do you think of this, Dennis, and this continued build to really not seeing them go yet?
I'm okay with this. You build them up. As you guys said earlier, you know, people who are not quite familiar with the NXT brand, what you're doing is building up Nakamura, letting people kind of go out, figure out who he is, and you build up a personality. It was great to see him pick up the mic and say a word or two. I was happy with that. I was a little disappointed we didn't see the violinist out there this week. You look, it's the small things, guys. I'll be the first one to admit it. Part of his shtick is the violinist, and that kind of makes me pop when you see the light, and you know that's when he comes out. You didn't see it this week, and I really hope that, you know, at least for pay-per-views, you give him that special fill entrance when he comes out, because I think that's a big part of who he is how he comes out.
Yeah, they can't do that every week because that guy has a day job, you know. And I don't know if they want to hire a violinist to take on the road for the entrance, but I do agree using it for the pay-per-views would be good. The problem with WWE pay-per-views is they don't really do much special with the entrances. Like every takeover, you see them trying to do something special. And the B show pay-per-views everyone just comes out just the same, you know, just the screens are changed a little bit, and that's about it.
Mania and SummerSlam, it seems like they put all the effort towards the entrances there, if that.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely Mania, and the rest is up in the air.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I like that they let Nakamura have at least a little bit of mic time last night. So it's not just gonna be all Dolph talking. But it was interesting on Talking Smack. Dolph was kind of telegraphing it and even saying like, "Oh yeah, it's getting these confrontations, but we're not actually gonna wrestle until the next pay-per-view." It's like, man, the next SmackDown pay-per-view is a long way away.
Yeah, we got like 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, like which is forever in WWE time. Like that's a lot of episodes of SmackDown to watch these two facing off. I kind of like with Dolph and his look in this that it's a little going, even he was wearing the shiny jacket last night. It seems like he's going back to those elements that match with Shinsuke more. It does give it that sort of that 80s rock feel. If we have Shinsuke in the red leather and Dolph in the black leather, they're both doing sort of a rock and roll thing, which I thought was subtle but cool.
I think I think Dolph is a great choice for the first feud. I thought Miz would have been great, but they shifted gears and sent him to Raw just because I think Miz could really get people to cheer Nakamura. Not that he necessarily needs that.
Yeah,
we'll have to see how the reactions to him are at live events, but I think Ziggler, he can be really strong on the mic when he's motivated, and he can really help get Nakamura over.
I think he knows this is a big opportunity. I mean, considering, God, remember what was it that felt like years, but it was really just 6 weeks of the heel Ziggler thing with Apollo and Kalisto. I mean, thank God that's over with.
Yeah, he was running in place there.
Yeah, so
nobody sells better in the WWE than Ziggler, and I really feel like you guys are right. This guy is perfect to help telegraph and build Nakamura going forward. His move set and everything, at least in the ring, he will make Nakamura look phenomenal in the ring. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting to see that match, which is now the dark main event at SmackDown, but hopefully we'll get to see on TV sometime soon. So we mentioned the vignette for Lana that we had, which was really long. That was a really long thing of her dancing, I felt like last night. But
yeah, it looked like Chris tweeted out on our Twitter account that it looked like Lana's getting Emelina's old gimmick.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They passed it on.
So yeah, we'll see.
I don't know about you guys, but I really felt like at first I was watching a commercial for like the Play Chicago coming to town, at your local Fox Theater at first, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, what's going on here? Because it really just jumped into it. There was no explanation of what we saw, and finally about 30 seconds into it, I go, oh, wait a second, okay, now I know what's going on.
I've seen some of the clips of her wrestling in NXT house shows, and like her entrance there, all of it's really good. I just don't know why they chose to show that last night to get people pumped about Lana doing a singles run.
Yeah, right. It reminded me of like Kelly when she came in, did the exotic dancing, and was always trying to expose herself. But anyway, if they're going to use her as a singles, I mean, you got to do stuff like this. But I wonder if she means more as a singles on SmackDown as opposed to being paired with Rusev. Or, I mean, it could be just something for her to do until Rusev gets back.
And I think that's more likely. Although I could see them doing, I mean, we saw with Miz and Maurice how well a couple can work in SmackDown if they give them some interesting material. And I think giving them a freer reign there could definitely be good. We also had the announcement that New Day is coming over to SmackDown. And then we have the number 1 contenders match, Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin versus AJ Styles. So Raj, what did you think of this match?
I thought the match was good. It's hard to go wrong with AJ. I mean, they were, clearly protecting Baron Corbin. Yeah. They made him look really strong in this match, which, with the push that they're giving him, it made sense. And now it was AJ pinning Sami, right?
Let's see, was that? Yeah, hit him with the forearm.
So again, Sami, his first night on SmackDown to beat him. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Dennis, what'd you think?
It was a good match. Once again, still very confused on why AJ's even here. I thought you would at least continue because AJ's the big mainstay here. We all thought he was leaving. At least for now, he's still on SmackDown. And not only does he stay on SmackDown, but it felt like he went down a rung for staying. When a lot of the big talent left, you'd think you'd elevate him up a little bit more. I know, the belt's already in a program. I was a little bummed out but I really felt like if you were going to put Sami Zayn over or you were going to progress this belt, you would have had something happen to AJ and you could have gave someone a beautiful opportunity to build themselves up when it wouldn't have hurt AJ to take a loss in this, or not even be pinned, but be on the outside and watch someone else win this. I really felt like that should have been the way they went.
So we're going to have all championships being defended at Payback, with the exception maybe of SmackDown Women and Tag. I mean, we'll have the Universal, or we'll have the World Heavyweight Championship. Actually, no, we won't have the Universal title. So we'll be 2 SmackDown, some Raw. Yeah, it's going to be weird at Payback. It's going to be a weird mix of belts on the line. But yeah, I feel like so we've hit a big pause button that nothing is going to really happen with those titles, the World Heavyweight Championship or the US title, until after Payback.
Yeah, luckily Payback's really soon. So
yeah.
2
weeks from Sunday. So a couple more episodes of SmackDown. So Raj, what are your sort of final thoughts on this shakeup in SmackDown Live going forward?
I thought it was fun. I don't know why they didn't just call it a draft. I mean, they had enough people move that it you could have easily called it a draft. Someone in our comment section's wondering if they're going to do another one after SummerSlam. I don't see that. I think doing it once a year. I'm sure they'll probably do a couple trades or something, but I think doing more than one is overkill. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, it freshens things up. I like the idea of Kevin Owens on SmackDown and Nakamura, so that'll be fun to watch. The Raw side, I don't see that much upside for Miz there. I think he could have done a lot more on SmackDown. But Dean Ambrose, if they can turn him heel or do something with him, he's kind of stale in his current persona. But if they turn him heel, he could be hot.
Yeah, Dennis.
Overall, I thought this was a great SmackDown. I turned it off going, it was way better than I thought. They utilized the people they had left in a great way. It didn't feel stale, although it could have. It did not progress anywhere in any of the storylines, really. And I was quite all right because we were really watching this to see who was coming and who was going. Overall, it was good. Boy, I'm a lot of questions going forward on how this brand is going to be constructed. I really wish instead of a superstar shakeup, they might have done something like a trade deadline. Like you would see in some sports, because there was didn't seem like, and I might be wrong, there wasn't a single trade at all this year, was there?
No, Jack Swagger moved brands.
Right. So maybe you might set it up with a surprise trade here and there throughout the year and get rid of the draft and have a trade deadline where, the rosters lock and then you go into like a massive, SmackDown versus Raw pay-per-view or something. But unfortunately, that's kind of what we got. And who am I to second guess the booking team, right? I'm just the third guy.
Well, I mean, I agree that they should do trades here and there throughout the year. I think it makes the competition between the two brands feel more real. But I still think they should do something like this, a draft kind of thing once a year, because it really does feel like it freshens things up. And now you got whole new storylines and potential angles going forward on both brands.
So Talking Smack last night had Owens calling out, I guess, some news going around. Is it confirmed that Renee Young and Dean Ambrose got married recently?
Yeah, it's confirmed.
Yeah. So I thought that was cute last night with Kevin congratulating her. People noticed Dean's finger was taped up on Monday night. And what was great, I don't know if you caught it last night, when Owens congratulated her, she quickly moved her hand off the table.
Yeah, I mean, she was sporting a pretty nice rock. So yeah, she quickly shied away from it, and Owens kept going. So Owens on Talking Smack is going to make up for the Miz being gone, because you could tell he likes that kind of unscripted atmosphere. As soon as he came on, he threw his shoes on the table. So that'll be fun to see, because he seems like he can make the most of that.
Yeah, Dennis, what did you think of Talking Smack last night?
It was good. I think you're right. You stole the words right out of my mouth. I was worried that it was going to lack something where you didn't have the Miz and Daniel Bryan really setting things off. And hopefully, Owens and Bryan can have a different kind of relationship, or Owens will bring something else, or maybe you can now highlight somebody else. But I think it will greatly miss the Miz in this role. I think this is what built the Miz, and this is what helped build the Intercontinental Championship. And there's going to be a small void there, for at least for me, going forward. Yeah.
Well, we'll get KO. We'll get Sammy. That'll give you some good segments. Although Daniel Bryan's off. What was he saying? 2.5 weeks, his baby's coming.
Yeah. But usually when people have babies, they're usually not off TV that long, unless you're a big star. So usually they're on TV by the next week. But hopefully it's Daniel Bryan, and I think at most he'll be on a couple weeks.
Yeah,
and Shane's been filling it in for him anyway when he is.
Man, seriously, Talking Smack can even make a good Talking Smack can make a mediocre SmackDown Live so much better. It just makes the night so much more enjoyable. So speaking of Jinder, we talked about him showing up at Talking Smack. Really, they gave him a great chance to talk last night, I thought. Got to see beyond sort of the one-note gimmick they've been placing him in anytime they let him speak in the ring. Otherwise, but so what's the story? What happened Monday night? Balor got a concussion from Jinder, the forearm blows?
Yeah, so he nailed him with his forearm. When Finn was coming off the ropes and running into him, he blasted him. Stuff like that happens. I know Jinder's getting a lot of crap for it, but and if he regularly injured people, I think that's one thing. But this is kind of a freak occurrence. But yeah, he's nailed him with that forearm, and you saw Finn Balor's head just kind of hit the mat pretty nasty. But he got up, he recovered. They kind of finished the match pretty quickly after that. But he's got a concussion. You never know what that means. It could be next week he's back, or it could be a longer thing. His other injuries haven't been concussion related, so hopefully it's just a quick thing. He gets evaluated and he's back.
Well, we've got a little time till Finn's program with Bray Wyatt can start. That was teased Monday night, since Bray's in this House of Horrors match coming up. Yeah,
exactly. And someone wrote in our comment section, the same people trying to blame Jinder for what happened to Balor are probably the same people who gave Nakamura a pass when he broke Aries' face. And that's a great point. Stuff does happen. The stuff with Seth Rollins, where he had that bad streak where people got injured. There's no one, you can't really put too much blame. Something like the Nia Jax thing, it's hard to blame her too, because she was called up too quickly. She's definitely not ready. So yeah, it wasn't done with malice, so it's unfortunate. But hopefully Finn's okay.
And that forum was also the replay too. If you go back and watch that match, WWE, and they replayed that hit, and they talked about it. So if you want to go back and actually watch that match, I think it was the one replay from the match. You can go and see the hit.
Yeah, they replayed it a couple times. They replayed it like right after it happened, and then after the match was over.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned to Wrestling Inc. for all the latest news on Finn being cleared. So we want to take some questions from the audience, Raj?
Yeah, sure, guys. Use hashtag Wrestling Inc. and shoot them over. Someone's asking, do you think wrestlers that become stale should go to NXT, like Dolph Ziggler? I definitely think so. Again, it hurts them in the pocketbook because they don't, you don't do that house show schedule, so you don't get that percentage of the revenue and that house show money. But it can freshen you up. If you find a way to get over with that crowd, it can make you, make you relevant again. So if depending on who it is, I don't know if Titus would benefit much from going to NXT, but
love to see it.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know, maybe Curtis Axel, someone like that, or Bo Dallas that's having a hard enough time getting on TV. Maybe something like that would freshen them up.
That's tough. Maybe. That's tough, because I feel like if you were to do that with one of those guys, you take away a spot in TV time for a young kid trying to scrape by and work his way up. I'm not against it, but I don't want it to become the norm, if that makes sense.
Again, these guys aren't on TV anyway.
I don't want NXT to become a dumping ground for failed gimmicks.
Right. Yeah. I think it should be once in a while, but not the norm, for sure. But then it gives the younger guys more seasoned people to work with. And you could bring guys that are ready to the main roster faster. Like Rude shouldn't have to spend a year in NXT like he's probably, I pretty much already has. I mean, it was a year ago that he first showed his face at NXT.
Yeah.
So, I think it would help take the burden off the guys that are ready as well.
You know, it's so weird now that I think about it with them not showing those NXT video clips. Like with the Ty and the 10 thing, I feel like all you need to do is show footage of the way the Full Sail crowd reacts, and it is a cue for the main roster crowds to be like, oh, this is what you do when Ty comes out. You know, wrestling is great for that sort of herd mentality. So I'm really shocked they don't lean on that more.
Yeah.
Which is probably their fear with sending someone back to NXT. You know, is this idea that they don't want to make it feel like required viewing for people.
Well, it probably gives them that failed stigma too if they go back. So it's, again, it just depends on how they do it. But I think they should do that once in a while.
But it is odd that with 205 Live, then on USA, they're essentially, I mean, they gave Perkins that promo time last night. They're essentially saying, like, watch this on the network after. So with NXT, there's got to be something else. There's got to be some other reason why they don't want to cross maybe continuity. I don't know.
Yeah. Someone's asking if we see the Shield reuniting on Raw. Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Anytime soon, though?
I mean, they're all baby faces, so I could see them doing a main event on Raw here and there, or use it for a pay-per-view, a B pay-per-view. But they're all baby faces, so I definitely think I definitely could see that happening. They kind of did that at the Survivor Series where they all teamed up for a spot. I mean, Dean Ambrose was on the opposite team, but they still worked together to, I forget who they put through a table. I want to say The Miz, but I forget. But yeah, I could see that happening. What do you guys think?
Maybe. I mean, although I think I think creatives thinking is like, man, if we just wait a couple months longer, we can make this a really big deal. You know, like enough time will have passed. So I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll drag it out a little longer and then treat it like it's the Beatles getting back together.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. Maybe it's going to take all three of them to take down the guy who just flipped over an ambulance. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Oh, that segment was so good.
Yeah, what'd you think of it, Josh?
Dennis.
It's okay. I get that a lot. Just call me Josh. You know what? I was thoroughly entertained, and I like Roman Reigns. I think I'm the one guy who likes what they're doing with him, not giving the fans what they want. But boy, the biggest complaint the fans had was they shoved this guy down our throats, and he's taken down this and then this and done this. And then in one fell swoop, you just buried the guy. And it seemed like every time Braun came back and beat him, the ambulance crew would strap him down even harder. Like, you're not fighting out of this one, buddy. So I thought it was great. And I really hope that they can build off this and let the fans see, like, okay, we're done shoving him down your throats. He's going to take a butt kicking like everybody else. And maybe we can move on with kid's gloves and try to rehab his image in more of a human wrestler point of view.
Oh, no, he's going to come back looking super strong, like probably on Monday.
He's going to turn the ambulance back over.
Yeah. He'll probably be, this, with the way Braun dominated Roman here. I mean, I'm sure Roman's back on Raw on Monday. It's almost like it feels like they're going to set it up so Roman beats Braun at the pay-per-view. I mean, when have you seen Roman get destroyed and then come back and lose? And it makes no sense. They shouldn't be doing that. If Braun and Lesnar is the plan, I don't know if Braun and Lesnar is not the plan until SummerSlam, because that's a ways away, or if they're going to try to do that before. But if they're doing it before, then it looks like Roman and Braun is, the storyline for the summer. And I guess maybe they give Roman the first win, since it's it'll probably be an ambulance match or a stretcher match. So they could do some sort of gimmicky finish and then have, Braun come back and win the rematch.
I kind of said this before we started taping, and I want to throw this out there again. And I don't know, it just had that feeling back in the old days when the guy's contract was ending, or he was going to be suspended, or he was going away for an injury for a long time. It just seemed like a way to write someone off TV the way they did it. It just had that we'll see you later, come back in a year or 6 months kind of feel to it at the end of it. Was I the only one that kind of felt that way at the end, even though we knew he was coming back and he's still doing live stuff, as Raj had told me? But did that not have that being written off for an extended period of time feel at the end of it?
Maybe in kayfabe, Braun was murdering Roman, and Roman comes back with Taker's gimmick next week.
It's done again, not to me, because it felt like it didn't feel like they were writing him off. It felt like it was starting a feud. You know, usually when they write someone off, they get them beat in the ring and just make them look like nothing, kind of like they did with the Dudleys, and have them losing for a while. And obviously Roman's not going anywhere. He's probably going to be on Raw Monday, if not definitely the week after. But that would be a cool way to write someone off if you were going to do that, except it kind of gets them over in a way. Which
some people,
you don't want them in a memorable angle when they're on their way out.
Yeah, I said this before we started the show, but just never watch Raw again. And in your mind, that was just how they got rid of Roman Reigns. That's how his storyline ended.
Yeah.
Never read another thing about it. Just keep that with you as the way that Roman Reigns went out.
Yeah. Someone's asking, do you think AJ Styles will win the WWE title in 2017?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Off Orton. I mean, what else do you... Randy, I don't know, man. I mean... You know, Rush, as you've been pointing it out, I know we've always been talking about this since Orton came back. I mean, he's in a weird place. He's like sort of a nostalgia act, but not really. You know, they treat him like a top guy, but not really. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think you keep the belt on him.
Yeah, I mean, really, who on SmackDown can they put the belt on? You got Owens, AJ, Nakamura, if they book him correctly. So, and Orton. I mean, not really anyone else right now. So I'm sure they'll be going to Orton and AJ soon enough, especially with AJ as a babyface. Yeah. And eventually, I can see Orton going over the first couple of times, and then AJ eventually winning that belt. I mean, I think that would be the best thing for SmackDown.
You know, I think Orton is starting to suffer from the Big Show disease, where the Big Show has flipped from face to heel, the face to heel, heel to heel, the face back and forth so many times, and so many incarnates of the same version of himself that people just kind of say, you know, if they wrote Randy Orton off TV for a month, 2 months even, and then he popped in, saved somebody, it would just maybe jumpstart who he is. But you know, Bray has carried him for the last several months, in my opinion. And he hasn't done anything to help himself. And he's still not doing anything to help himself. He's still good in the ring, but he's just lacking the vision or the excitement, or he's just lacking something on the mic that just has not ignited my interest in him right now.
He's just a nostalgia act without the nostalgia, I think. You know, it's like Cena, but no one has fondness for him. You know what I mean? Like Cena, at least kids go crazy. The crowd does John Cena sucks. With Randy, people are even over the RKO now. You don't even get the chance for that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, people pop for him when he comes back, but then within a couple of weeks, they're like, oh yeah, it's Orton. Yeah. He's just not, he's really never been that kind of guy that gets a crowd, you know, going crazy. And he's not, nothing he does right now interests me that much. And he's a top star, and they should be.
He's becoming like the WWE equivalent, Dennis, to someone from your neck of the woods. He's becoming the WWE equivalent of like Kid Rock. Kid Rock's got a new album out and touring's this summer. It's like, oh, Kid Rock's always got a new album out that I don't care about. It's like Randy Orton needs to go away, you know, for people to have that fondness. Yeah. It's great when he came back, but he's done nothing new since that's been relevant. And that Wyatt thing was weird.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean, a feud with him and AJ, if he turns it up, that could be really good. And I have Orton be the heel, AJ is the babyface, and who knows, maybe that could be it. They had that match on SmackDown, you know, last month or end of February. I was excited for that, and it was nothing. And it's rare that you see that with an AJ match. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Do you, and this is speculation, guys, real quick, do you just think Randy Orton's a little just burnt out and has maybe himself lost the, I don't say will, I hate speculating on people, but it just seems like he's, you know, kind of burnt out himself.
Except he's always been like this.
Yeah, I never feel like Randy Orton's even ever been that high on Randy Orton. You know what I mean? Like, he's not even excited by the work he's doing.
Makes sense.
I mean, he seems like a cool guy. Seems nice enough, but yeah, I mean, there's no gimmick, there's no hype, there's no excitement. I don't know. You know, with Brock, at least Brock's like this monster dude. With Randy, he's athletic, but I don't know. I feel like he's got a great run in him. We just haven't seen that in quite some time.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So let's wrap it up. Anything else before we take it home here? Dennis, anything you want to plug? Where can people find you online?
You just follow me on Twitter at Dennis77Farrell, Farrell. I tweet and we laugh.
Raj, what should people look for on the site?
Look for the first part of my Kurt Angle interview coming up here in a little bit. He talks about if he's completed the WWE physicals, if the Raw general manager position changes, his returning to the ring, and talks about his Angle Strong app, which is available at anglestrong.com.
Cool. Yeah, I've read some very good things about that. That's addiction recovery and support, correct?
Yes, correct.
Very nice. So I had finally yesterday, Raj, even though I streamed it on digital, my screener of the Marine 5 Battleground showed up. So we'll get around to reviewing that. Spoiler alert, the Battleground is a parking garage.
Oh, man, you ruined it.
How many stars out of 5? It doesn't make even crack that list.
It's not up there with the Marine 3 and 4, but literally, you know what's funny, on the back of the packaging, it says the most WWE superstars ever in one film. Yeah. And that might actually be true, at least in acting roles. Yeah.
You know, what was it? The longest that MacGyver movie that had like Mark Henry and Jericho and Kali. At least they had like top guys. MacGruber, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought there was one more, but I remember they had a bunch in that.
Yeah, if you want to see Bo Dallas act and actually do a halfway decent job, this is the film for you.
I don't.
Yeah, it's something else, man. Cool. So until next time, everyone, I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.